last night marked the most hockey necessary in Rock Lobster history for the cardiac crustaceans to get the win, but the win in an absolute thriller came nevertheless. But on an evening that the IceCats are dedicating to the hockey history of Florence, South Carolina, will Pee Dee pip the team they despise the most, or can Athens damage their pride once again? Good evening, Crustacean, and welcome back to the Florence Center in South Carolina, where the Dee IceCats take on your Athens Rock Lobsters. My name is Mattine Rad, bringing you this FPHL action on the ARL Network live on YouTube and Sportfeed. Before we bring you the puck drop, the Piedmont Athens Regional pregame show starts right here and right now. The neutral fans around the FPHL that tuned into last night's game were treated to an absolute classic that has become customary for the cardiac crustaceans, but it probably raised the blood pressure of both Pee Dee and Athens fans. Much of that topsy-turvy tale came courtesy of the fight that the IceCats put up in that game. Garrett Milan strapped the cape on and reminded IceCat Nation why he's the most hated player in Florence. Lukarioff had a great night as well with a pair of tallies, and Joe Mack netted a goal in the third period despite serving 14 minutes of penalties in the final frame. The Lobsters were never behind in that contest. They were up 1-0, 3-1, 5-3, and 6-5, but the pesky outfit from Pee Dee just would not go away, forcing an overtime and a shootout. Even the shootout went long, the longest in Athens history at 7 rounds. Carter McPhail would come up big at the most crucial time, stopping 6 of 7 shots in sudden death. Philip Virgili, already having a memorable week after the announcement of his wife's pregnancy, scored 2 of his 3 shootout attempts. The last one was the most important, giving Athens 2 points, which is enough to stay atop the Continental Division. Athens' advantage in the season series moves to 9-3 after snapping the Cats' 5-game winning streak last night. Only 2 more meetings left between Pee Dee and the Lobsters. This is the last here in Florence. Only a tiebreaker on head-to-head win separates the Rock Lobsters and the Snakes now, as both are now level on 92 points. Both teams are scoreboard watching and hoping that the other will fall. We take a look at the starting lineup tonight. Only one change, as all the 5 skaters are the same, but Matt Sales, who knows this ice well, former IceCat, gets the start in between the pipes for the Rock Lobsters tonight. Meanwhile, on the skaters' side, we'll see the debut of Jonathan Bartuccio Pereira, who will wear number 63 tonight. Let's send it down to the ice for the pregame ceremony here in the Florence Center.
There
take a quick look at the goalie matchup tonight between these two teams. Matt Sales and Brendan Colgan, both relatively new goaltenders for their team. This will be Matt Sales' first start as a Rock Lobster. 4 of his 7 starts this season for the IceCats came against Athens. Meanwhile, on the other side, Brendan Colgan, who's been a mainstay in the FPHL in his career. More than 100 starts, 60 wins, and 4,000 saves in his FPHL career. He was the 2023-24 FPHL Netminder of the Year in his tenure with the Columbus River Dragons. It's Pee Dee Pride Night here in the Florence Center as they celebrate a little bit of the hockey heritage in Florence. The Pee Dee Pride having played here in the ECHL from 1997 to 2005, including number 5 tonight, Jan Vadraska, 49 years old, a member of the 2004-2005 Pee Dee Pride team. Some former players being honored tonight. We'll see if Matt Sales has a comfortable night in the crease, a crease that he'll know well. Pee Dee legend starting the night off, but all eyes on that bright yellow suit on the ice. I believe that is one of the Pee Dee owners. We saw him wearing a Pee Dee jersey. He was a celebrity signing contract himself back on Military Appreciation Weekend. We'll also see another Athens debut for number 63 tonight, Jonathan Bartuccio Pereira. 135 games of SPHL experience with the Macon Mayhem, the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs, the Knoxville Ice Bears, the Quad City Storm, the Pensacola Ice Flyers, and most recently the Birmingham Bulls. Interestingly enough, he is a former player last season with the Pensacola Ice Flyers, where he was coached by current IceCat coach Gary Graham. Looks like we're ready to start playing hockey here in the Florence Center. Will there be as much drama as there was last night? We'll find out as the Rock Lobsters win the opening draw through Joe Mack. Little flip up towards the opposing blue line. It's taken away and sent in. Joe Mack has to cut it out right out in front of Matt Sales' slot there. Colgan out of the crease to make a play. Leafers all the way around, no one there to make a pinch on it. Michael Greco will take it in his own right circle. Works it up the near side. Phil tries to flip it in. Gullo has an opening the other way. Ledkoff, who had the last goal in regulation last night, to tie it up at 6-6 and send it to overtime. Backhanded into Athens ice. Lowell tries to feed it between his skates. Looks like the IceCats will have the game's first power play as there's a tripping call against Athens. Just about a minute gone in the first period. They might get the goal before that. Ledkoff with a shot. Athens touches up, and they'll go to the Leslie Jones Law penalty kill. And I'm starting to realize more and more that they are different jersey numbers for the IceCats tonight, so that's fun. Let's see what the game sheet can tell us. Oh, and it looks like there's an issue with my penalty timer again as well. Dominic Marcinkiewicz with a handoff to his brother to the right. Minute 45 left to go on this 2-minute tripping call for Jesse Lowell. Centering pass, Patrick Marcinkiewicz from distance through traffic. Athens are able to block the shot with a body out in front. Right when you think everything's working great. Patrick Marcinkiewicz dances his way in, takes a hit up high from Joseph Kolatarsi. Rock Lobsters scored a shorthanded goal last night from Garrett Milan to secure the hat trick, the 9th for Athens this season. Lakoff, such a speedy skater. A blast goes far right and sends Milan the other way. Slaps one and almost finds the net. That one 100 miles a minute. Dumped right back in by Athens. Around to the far side. Johnson with a chip back and then sent down 200 feet. Nick McGill-Diaz. Dom Della Savita on the right, mishandle. And there's the touch of the puck there for Jonathan Bartuccio Pereira. Out of the same hometown as Brandon Picard, Saint-Bernard de Montarville, Quebec. Lakoff almost got caught up there by Van Durken, but he's able to escape the scene of the crime. Pee Dee giving it away, but get it right back in Athens zone. Helped ahead. Closest to it on the Athens side was Daniil Glukaryov, coming off a good night, 2 goals for him. Good hit from Croucher on the forecheck, but 2 Pee Dee players around him. Bedard hassled by Van Durken. Falls to the Moscow Mule on the far wall. Getting stuck in the corner here. Comes back around in the near side. Backhanded up the wall by Matt Gilbert. Almost an offside there against the IceCats, who don't make a touch of the biscuit. See what Athens can get done here now that they've killed the penalty. About 4.5 minutes gone in the first period. Still not a single shot on goal. Dominic Marcinkiewicz looking to change that. But now there's a 3-on-2 rush being led by Joe Mack. Joe Mack looking to cause chaos in the crease. Comes off the body of Liefers, and Colgan able to cover up, freezing time at 15:16. Joe Mack and Dennis Zajac over the faceoff dot. Probably their 2 best faceoff representatives for the 2 teams. Colgan being as safe as he potentially can with that shot that was floated toward him. Friendly fall for Phil. Joe Mack drops it for Liefers. Return pass to Mack, trying to get it back for Liefers out in front, and now Athens have to play on their heels. Zajac Out to the right, tricky glove save, but Matt Sales able to make it. We'll come right back after this commercial break from Piedmont Athens Regional.
As a hockey player, my health is everything to me. When I got injured,
I didn't just worry about missing games. I worried about my future in the sport I love. From the moment I met you and your team at Piedmont Athens Regional, you gave me confidence. Your expertise, your care, your support, it all reassured me from the very start. Because of you, I've been able to recover, rebuild, and get back to playing the sport I love. Can't thank you enough for what you've done for me and my future. Your help means the world to me, and I'll always be grateful for your part in keeping my dream alive. Thanks to Dr. Graff and Piedmont Athens Regional, I get to keep playing the game I love.
Back here from the Florence Civic Center. So try to revert back to some old technology here.
Every business owner who's built a business wonders about their company's legacy. What's the path forward after they decide to take a step back? At the heart of
Apologies about that. Meanwhile, the Rock Lobsters trying to score here. Colgan asks where it is, and it's right in between his pads. Everything going swimmingly thus far for me on the broadcast. Numbers I've never seen before on the Pee Dee side. Score bug working just the way I intended it to. Everything's going great. No, I don't really think it's that dark here in the arena. Still recently fresh lights put in here. Quite bright, actually, in the Florence Center. I think there's something wrong with the white balance, potentially, with the cameras being used here. Shot out of play. Looks like it was Jacob Hamilton with the shot there. Wearing number 3 tonight. .11 left in the first period. There's actually shots on goals to speak of now. Good pass into the zone from JBP, Jonathan Bartuccio Pereira. And a good job there as well to take the body on Noah Robinson and ensure that the icing would be called. Faceoff will get taken back down. Van Durkin to Glukarioff right out of the draw. Glukarioff tries to rip the shot, but it's blocked. Jake Hamilton, fresh off suspension, was unable to play last night due to his infraction. Lewd gesture that kept him out of competition. Glukarioff coming off a 2-goal night. Looking for the top shelf once again, which he hit a couple of times in last night's contest. Paralat with a pinch. What a beautiful turn. Gets the shot off, but wide on Colgan. Van Durkin with a shot. Blocked by the stick there of Della Savita. Croucher able to take it away, but his pass only finds Hamilton, and a little find over to Ledkoff. Many Russians and Eastern Europeans on this IceCat team. Jesse Lowell has a route on the far wall, sends it up from the wing into the end boards. Johnson, as he so often does, getting dirty on the forecheck. Long range pass doesn't go to plan. And another icing against the IceCats. Milan and Zajac this time doing battle for possession over the dot. Rides the top part of the glass, falls down for the glove of Malik Johnson. Milan tried to find him back, but he's impeded by Zajac, and here come the IceCats on a rush. Trying to cast a spell on that puck is easier said than done for Frolov. Legkoff able to find a loose biscuit. Abdella just about keeps it in. Frolov coming off of a 2-goal night in his own right. Matt Sales able to get his mitt to it. It's showing Matt Gilbert's position as a P on the game sheet. I have no idea what that means. I guess he's a punter. Pad save necessary there from Sales. Long distance shot from Abdella at the point. Mack ties up his man. Dominik Marcinkiewicz waves at it. Couldn't get the shot off. Effort from Bedard. Easy enough for Sales to deal with. Sent into the near side corner by Virgili. Leifers takes a big hit from Abdella. Both of them trading knocks back and forth. Houston Wilson. Well, Houston, we have a problem, but it falls to Dominik Marcinkiewicz. Centering pass. No, it wasn't. It probably would have been the better play there as Houston Wilson was out all alone in front of Sales' net. Nice little pass between two D-men there, Bartuccio Pereira and Paralat. Two left-handed D who are on the same pair. It's a great job by Gullo to tie up Glukaryov. Hamilton skates away from Croucher. Paralat pokes it up ahead for Glukaryov, combining with his fellow countrymen. Beautiful passing all around. Looking for his first goal as a Rock Lobster in just the first few minutes of his debut was Bartuccio Pereira. Paralat trying to airmail one, and now it leads to a break the other way. Legkoff forehand, backhand, Sales with a save. Standing tall against his former teammate on the breakaway. That is the biggest save of the first 10 minutes of this period, as Sales is able to stop a very prolific scorer in Legkoff on the B-way. Zajac and Milan again. Zajac able to win it this time. It was a knuckler just wide on Sales. Pee Dee able to propagate some pressure at this point, the halfway mark of the first period. Joe Kolatarski, such a big body, and uses it well that time. Shinkarik chasing down his man. Johnson beats his man at the hash marks, but then possession given up right back to Pee Dee. Great centering pass. Trying the wraparound backhand was Johnson. Great forecheck and a great feed from Kaljam. Frolov, a toenail save from Sales. Greco made a step up. Now he has to get back in a tumble that took a long time. Tom and Jerry style from Patrick Marcinkiewicz. Almost got it back from Leifers. Shinkarik trying to lead Leifers into the zone. Abdella with a little bit of a stiff arm there on the Saskatoon-Saskatchewan native. Tiptoe in by Philip Virgili. Just about gets it to Maye. Looking for a tip from his teammate many different times in his career, Eli Leifers. In a great position is Mack in the high slot. Pad save. Shot from distance from Greco. He's been on the hunt for that goal. His first since coming back from his ECHL loan. He had 4 shots last night, and he stings the pad once again of Colgan there. We go back to the commercial break, still no score. Let's see if that changes in the rest of this first period. Stay tuned with us here on the ARL Network.
Rock Lobster fans, this is Brad Akins. Akins Ford has led the way for years and keeps on growing. From offering the Southeast's largest inventory to being #1 in the nation in Ford truck sales, we're here to serve you. Want to customize your ride? Our Wild Willie's accessories team can make it as unique as you are. Make it legendary. Need service? Our fleet of over a dozen mobile service vans come right to you. Akins Ford and Winder. We really are closer and bigger than you think. Rock Lobsters, let's go.
Back here at the Florence Center. Still a scoreless game. Both teams trying to make a change to that. Joe Mack in the corner. Leifers back out to the point. Greco with a shot once again. Don't think Virgili got a touch to it, but Colgan sure did on the save. Hard off the end boards. Just about ekes out of the zone. Virgili smelled blood in the water, but it was dealt with well by Timur Razilov. McGill Diaz, captain for this PD team, dropped back by Dominics to his brother. Patricks gets the pass wrong. Croucher, block shot by Popov. And then Glukaryov gives it up. And a great pass from Popov to Patricks, and he flips it over the bar. Toe drag, does it go right from Glukaryov? Wilson trying to get it to the net front. Dominics takes a dip. Van Durken constantly connecting. Ooh, that was a bad-looking hit. Looked like knee to knee. Another bite of the cherry. Patricks tries the same thing again and misses. Can't complete the bar-down breakaway. So good at getting on breakaway rushes are the Pee Dee IceCats. 2 golden opportunities to open up the scoring, and Patrick Marcinkiewicz couldn't score on either of them. Meanwhile, Paralat with a shot off the pad of Colgan. Right now, he's been using his lower body more than the glove or the blocker. Gilbert able to get it around to Robinson. Abdella from the point. Glove save from Sales. 5th save of the evening for the man born in Milton, Georgia. Just down the road from my hometown in Roswell. Yet another face-off between Zajac and Milan, and Zajac might have the advantage in that regard. Johnson trying to twist and turn it out of the zone, helped on its way by Milan. Milan meets a roadblock there. Backhand, deflects towards the net front, taken back in behind. Milan, does he still have that same fire to his step as he did last night? Netting his second hat trick of the calendar year. Johnson has to ease it back out of the zone. Shinkarik exchanging with Greco. Greco once again trying to test Colgan from distance. Mack flips that from the corner to the near side. Wilson gives it away to Mack, top shelf. The last 2 goals for the Rock Lobsters belong to Joe Mack, who gets the truck rolling downhill and flips past Colgan. 1-0 Lobsters. Joe Mack with goals in back-to-back games now. He's 1 away from his 20th. It's an attack from Mack that gets us started tonight. And it comes off of a giveaway from the IceCats in their own ice. Philip Virgili fighting for all he's worth, but was covered up pretty well there. Pee Dee had a ton of immediate answers last night. There's a tumble in behind as Matt Sales offered a poke check. Thought it was a little bit of a late reaction myself. Athens has their goal. Joe Mack, who scored to make it 6-5 last night, makes it 1-0 in this contest. And now Athens has to hold on, something that was difficult to do last night.
At Athens Stonecasting, Don Hill oversees acres of sculptures poured from thousands of molds. Endless possibilities for neighbors who envision unique gardens. Craig Meeks at First American Bank and Trust caught that vision. Together, Don and Craig create solutions that keep the business teeming with new gifts for the garden. Vision. It's one of the core convictions we live by. Learn more about what we stand for at firstamericanishere.com. First American Bank and Trust.
Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon your toilet will clog again.
What if it won't flush?
We'll always repair it.
Nobody puts baby in a flooded corner.
Maybe I should still fix it.
You had me at hello. We've got same-day service.
Plumbing completes me.
Joe Mack's 19th of the year. Says he's unassisted, but that's not the case. He was actually assisted by a Pee Dee player and was able to finish on that move as well. But Pee Dee consistently answered everything that Athens put up last night. Did not have a lead in last night's game. Tie things up at 1-1, 3-3, 5-5, and 6-6. Long lead pass, banks into the Pee Dee zone for icing. Shout out to the Dibbling clan, who I see right in behind the penalty boxes there. Dom Della Savita after the Pee Dee face-off win. Sales was able to get a good sight line on it. Michael Greco has been such a strong physical player, perhaps even more so than he was before his ECHL loan. Razzaloff trying to whisk it out of danger's way, but Croucher gets a touch of the puck. Lukariev helps it on its way to the point. Shot wide from Greco. Sometimes the best pass is a shot. I feel like that's been a bit of the way that Michael Greco has operated lately. Lukariev, almost a beautiful goal completed on a combination of Daniil Lukariev and Luke Croucher. Tremendous stick handling from the Russian rifle to get it to the net front, and then Croucher almost got the finishing touches. Lukariev operating in behind once again. Can't find his countryman, Gleb Van Durken. This time it's Pee Dee who will ice. .349 now remaining in the first period. Seeing a good amount of Rock Lobster jerseys in the crowd tonight. Much better crowd for the IceCats than last night. An important night for their franchise as they celebrate a little piece of their hockey heritage in Florence. Couple of glass slappers as Johnson digs himself into the corner. Calgin in on the forecheck as well. Johnson been looking for that twisting, turning pass. Shinkarik whiffs on a clearance, has to get back, but the pass never made its way to Ledkoff, who had a lot of net to aim for if he was able to get the blade of his stick on it. Jesse Lowell showing off the muscle. Comes back into the neutral ice. Had a chance to talk with Jesse Lowell after the game last night. Pretty easy tripping call, unfortunately, against him there. We'll have the second power play of the night. Both of them will belong to the IceCats. Patrick's Marcinkevics, touched by Kolatarsi. Had a chance to talk with Jesse Lowell last night. I said, I really like the way you're looking on that line with Johnson and Garrett Milan. I know you're the young guy. You have to get your nose dirty out of the three of them. He says, let me tell you, Mateen, even if I was the old guy on the line, I'm still going to be the one to get my nose dirty. And I said, wow, this guy's built different. I loved that answer. Unfortunately for Jesse, though, he is the culprit for both penalties for Athens in this first period. Sometimes that's what happens when you toe that line, playing that gritty game that Jesse Lowell has been able to adapt in the FPHL. Majority of what remains in this period will be played on a Pee Dee power play. Athens on the Leslie Jones Law penalty kill. Strong, skilled, strategic defense. Sales playing a little bit of Russian roulette in behind the net. Meanwhile, it's the Latvian who has possession at the point. Patrick's Marcinkevics, here he is again. Scored his league-leading 34th goal of the season last night. Will they get yet another? Blazes one off the bar. Patrick's with the third really meaningful contribution, and a bit of razzle-dazzle from Garrett Milan, trying to get it on the forehand, twisting with a backhand and sprawling out. Can't get the shot off, looking for back-to-back games with a short-handed goal. Meanwhile, a looping shot deflecting from Patrick's Marcinkevics. Pushing and shoving in the neutral ice between Patrick's and Greco. 25 seconds left on Jesse Lowell's penalty. Goal called for the trip. Still a chance here for the team from South Carolina. Leifers up ahead. Mack joining him. Lowell out of the box. Good thing for Athens because now he's back to defend. Seconds after the penalty ends, Wilson with a shot that ricochets past Sales, but not into the net. 20 seconds to go. The Rock Lobsters trying to keep their claws on a lead into the intermission. Helped in by Lowell Calgin here in the corner. Thought Calgin had a great game last night that wasn't rewarded with a notch. Had a couple of chances there at Rutherford. Different goalie tonight in Colgan. But he is the goalie that is beaten as Joe Mack opened up the scoring, able to get a little treat taken away there, wrapped up in a bag off of an IceCat mistake in their own zone, and it's flipped up into the top of the net by Joe Mack, his 19th of the year. Goals in back-to-back games for the man out of New Hudson, Michigan. We go into the break with an Athens lead, and an Athens advantage on the scoreboard early on is something that has been a little bit rare in this building for them this year. Fans need to get ready as the games come fast and quick in the month of March. Take a look here on the right side, the very top of the calendar. You see the game that we're on right now. And the games just come and come and come after that. Pee Dee at home on Wednesday. A little bit of home and home. Go to Twin City and Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Arena that Friday afterward. 2 back at home against the Thunderbirds. We'll see Monroe 5 more times this year. And we'll see some old friends once again in Winston-Salem. Well, the biggest Rock Lobster news recently wasn't just a shootout win. It was also perhaps the biggest trade in franchise history as Athens dealt Kaysen Gallant, Dom Dumas, and Jack Johansson to the Twin City Thunderbirds. And what they got back was a former MVP, a 3-time 40-goal scorer in the FPHL, a soon-to-be 5-time 30-goal scorer. And what a guy that I met last night as well here in Florence. He'll make his debut in front of the home fans Wednesday against the IceCats. But it was a big topic of conversation with me and head coach Garrett Rutledge. You'll have a chance to listen to that conversation here. Coach's Corner, Mattine Rad and Garrett Rutledge. Welcome back into Coach's Corner, Crustacean Nation, your inside look to everything happening on and off the ice for the Rock Lobsters. Your host, Mattine Rad, joined by head coach Garrett Rutledge. And let's jump right into it, Coach. We'll talk about the game played and the games to played this weekend. But first, earlier on the day of this reporting, the biggest trade in Rock Lobster history, maybe even FPHL history. I don't know if I'm overstating that. Athens brings in Gus Ford from the Twin City Thunderbirds in exchange for Kaysen Gallant, Jack Johansson, and Dom Dumas. First, let's talk a little bit about the player that we're getting. I think fans are familiar with the numbers and the accolades, a 3-time 40-goal scorer in this league, soon to be a 5-time 30-goal scorer, a former MVP in the FPHL, a forward of the year as well. But from someone who has coached him yourself, what are the Rock Lobsters getting in Gus Ford?
You are getting an absolute great human coming back the other way, a leader on our hockey team, another guy that's been captains, assistant captain, and an absolute deadly threat every single time he steps on the ice. Every time Gus gets the puck on his stick, he's going to be a threat. Everybody knows he's in the building, and he's going to be a pleasure to watch because he's a magician when he has that puck on his stick and the way he can find guys. So to be able to put him into our arsenal of guys we already have, our forward group is pretty well rounded now. So I'm happy to get him. I think it's going to pay dividends right off the hop here. Obviously not conducive of him being suspended for 2 games here, but that's kind of the way it is. It is what it is. It's something I can't control. But no, putting him in, I think it's going to be amazing for our group. It gives us a shot in the arm. The guys had a little jump at practice today. I think the buzz is good. I think we're all in. Like at the end of the day, we're making moves to make championships here. Again, I want to thank Kaysen Gallant, Jack Johansson, and Dom Dumas for their service. Obviously, they've done they put their time in here, more so Kaysen than anybody. He's been a goal scorer for us. At the end of the day, you got to give something to get something. all these moves are made for a reason. That again, I can't divulge right now, but it all makes sense. Hopefully by the time we're standing on the ice lifting a Commissioner's Cup, that's the end goal. And obviously Jackie's been a great soldier into our decor, moving in from Macon there. Been nothing but great. But again, you gotta add pieces in. And then Doomer, just again, we got a bunch of guys hanging around that are in the lineup. We're against the roster every night. We're healthy scratching 2 guys, and then we got 2 guys on IR that are injured. And Doomer's coming back from a couple injuries that he's had over the course of the year. And it's tough. It's tough to get back in the lineup, especially when new guys come in. Eli and John come back in, and everybody wants ice time and everyone wants to play at the end of the day. So it's the fair thing to do for players. They're going to a great organization, the Thunderbirds. Like I said, I was there. Their fan base, their booster club, their ownership, the rink, the city, everything to do there is a lot like Athens, to be honest with you. Maybe like obviously they don't have a brand new rink, but it's one of those spots that's near and dear to my heart. And it's a good spot for the boys to go to, and they're going to enjoy playing there just as much as they played here for the Rock Lobsters. But I'm looking forward to get Gus here. He's an electric player. I think fans are going to fall in love with him really quick here. But it also, again, it takes us back down to where we need to be on lineup-wise and rosters. So it's just one of those things.
He's been a constant contributor in this league, has Gus Ford, and for the Thunderbird organization, but his biggest year came under your tutelage in the 2022-23 season, 46 goals, 68 assists, 114 points. I don't think it's really a secret that this was a reunion that I think both of you guys wanted. How much of a mutually beneficial relationship is it between you and Gus?
Yeah, we haven't spoken a ton, to be honest with you. I know there's a few times in the summertime I talked to him even before I had this job, just touching base with him, seeing how he's doing and stuff. But I think he's done a great job there, like in Carolina. Even when I was there, when we got him from Macon, actually, when I was in Carolina, just let him do his thing, let him play, let him be who he is. But I think Dawson Baker played in that line. So if you ask Dawson the question, he says all the points come through him if you really talk to Baker. So I think Ford will attest that old Baker there set up a lot of his goals. But no, both of them were really good for us. And like I said, Ford got rolling there and pucks were rolling in the net. So it was fun to see him put the puck on his stick, make plays, do what he did, allow him to be the Gus Ford that we know. And like I said, he's done very well. He's towed the line very well in Carolina, and it was fortunate that they moved him on to us to let us kind of have another long run here. Like they've been to the finals 3 years in a row. The guys scored OT winners and shootout winners and everything else. So again, it's not easy probably on the other side of things. And obviously a couple guys got to be moved out of here, and it's not easy, but it's one of those things. It's great to see people's opinion. It's great to see hockey fans have a say in things. Like, again, you can have your opinion on things. You can be a big fan of us. That's what hockey's all about. And it's great to see in the South as people gain knowledge in the boys and the game of hockey. But at the end of the day, you go to a restaurant, you can critique the food. If you're a season ticket holder and you're buying for the product, you can have an opinion on things. So it's valued, but at the end of the day, that's what I'm doing in my job, I guess. I'm trying to make the team better in a whole and where we're going to be. And like I said, every move is made for a reason, and eventually people will find out what those reasons are. So
no doubt it's tough to be the guy who has the fire under them to be making all the decisions. I've tried to do some research on the subject, and it's a slightly difficult subject to research, but you've been ingratiated in this league longer than I have, so you'd likely know better. In the scope of blockbuster trades to have ever happened in the FPHL, this is toward the top of that list, is it not?
Yeah, I think, I'm trying to think of that. I was actually thinking that beforehand. I think Columbus has made a couple big trades. I think the year in Watertown, they made a couple big trades when they won the championship. They added a few big pieces there, I believe, in Ryan Devine and a couple legit guys back in the day. So, but yeah, I think it's a pretty big trade for the Federal Hockey League. I don't know, as a whole, like Gus Ford's a pretty good hockey player, and don't sell yourself short. We give up 3 pretty good hockey players back the other way to the Twin City Thunderbirds. So I think they're going to be in a good spot too. And I think Kayson's going to get a great opportunity playing on their top line with Whitey and Kramer. And again, it's not the easiest position to be in to make those choices. I think we play them 5 times this month. So you got a team that I used to coach and a few players over there that want a vendetta against us. So we're going to have to be ready to play. It's going to be shape up for some good hockey down the stretch here. And said I'm excited about it, but I'm also excited about our group and what we put together here in Athens. And I think the fans are going to love Gus pretty quick here, and he's going to have fans jumping out of their seats pretty quick with the old claws up.
You bring it up, it's not just a seismic trade because of what we're bringing in, which is a huge piece, a top 3 or 5 player in this league, potentially higher, but also because of what we're letting go. And you've mentioned a lot of their contribution, Kaysen, JoJo, and Dom. All 3 of them tremendous players, perhaps even better people. It's a sad part of the business, and unfortunately, you can't get something good without giving up something good. What is it like for you to walk that tightrope and balance the emotions of a trade like this?
Well, first of all, I'm always trying to make the team better for sure. So when I see an opportunity I can do that, I need to make hard decisions. Again, you sit here as the coach and general manager of the team. It's not easy to call guys and tell them you're traded from the Athens Rock Lobsters. It's not easy to make those phone calls. I'm human at the end of the day. I know the emotions. I know what guys give up every day here, blood, sweat, and tears, pulling for the Rock Lobsters. And then when you got to call a player and tell him that he's been moved, it's just, it's not fun. That's kind of the sad part of, I guess, being in my spot. But at the end of the day, you have to put your feelings aside and make those calls and make them short and sweet and make sure that they know they're in a good spot and they're sent to a good location. So I like to make sure when we do send guys out that we're just not sending them to the absolute basement or an absolute dumpster fire somewhere. I want to send them to good spots where they're going to be loved and have a good fan base and continue on playing hockey and making sure that they're continuing having success. That's the end of the day. You want to make sure all these guys have good spots to go and they're enjoying the game of hockey and they stay in as long as possible. But as for a coach, general manager, it's always tough making these calls, and anybody that thinks it's easy, it's definitely not, and it weighs on me. And a couple sleepless nights here definitely have been on in my docket there.
It's a huge thank you that's necessary for all 3 of Kaysen, Jack, and Doomer for their contributions to the organization, the moments and memories they've created, and to just being 3 amazing guys to know. Coach, I think what fans may need to understand is this isn't something that you would go and do, just to dilly-dally and try and create an environment that you can reminisce on. You're trying to win games. You're trying to win a championship. And this is a huge moment for the organization in so many different ways. It feels like a putting in all of the chips kind of moment, kind of decision. Is a motivating factor. This is something that you feel like you had to do to bring the ultimate goal to fruition. And as we've said, that's to win a Commissioner's Cup.
Yeah, I think I said that from day one, Mateen, since we've been talking, and I think we were at Livewire and we had a fan meeting here in the rink, I think a fan appreciation day or something like that, early, maybe July, somewhere in there. But I think the city of Athens deserves it. I think last year's team was built on that. I think the city of Athens expect winners. I think the state of Georgia is a city or a state of winners. It goes to the football program, to gymnastics, to tennis, to everything. I think everybody in Athens is used to winning. So when I come with that mindset, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make the hard decisions. I'm going to make sure that our team is set up and we're there in the end of the day, and we're going to be challenging for the Commissioner's Cup for sure. So there's a lot of breaks and bounces that go along the way in playoff hockey, but nothing you can guarantee. But all you can do is bring the pieces in and make sure that you're detailed as a coach and have your team ready to go, and hopefully the chips fall where they do. So, but I think it's deserving for the fans here in Athens to see if we can get a championship and hang a banner for years to come in this arena, and everybody can look up and know that we did this all together as a fan base, as a coaching staff, as the team itself, as the front staff, as families. Everything happens for a reason here. So it's going to be exciting times. Like I said, it weighs on my shoulders quite a bit, but I'm all for it, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to for sure put on a show here shortly.
As you mentioned, Gus currently serving a 2-game suspension. Does that mean that we could say for sure that we'll see him for the first time in a Rock Lobster jersey Wednesday in Aikens Ford Arena against the Pee Dee IceCats?
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to wear number 25 too. So a little throwback to our boy Dawson Baker there. So he's going to be there Wednesday night. He's coming in today. I think he's going to go to maybe the basketball game tonight. I think they're playing Alabama tonight. So I think A couple of fans reached out, so they got him set up with that, and quick game of golf there tomorrow. So they'll go with the boys and have some lunch, spend some time together, and already start that brotherhood bond. So it's exciting to have him in town. I think he's excited about it. I think it's electric. I think it brings a buzz to our hockey team. Like I said, the pace of practice this morning was everybody was firing on all cylinders. It was fun to watch, fun to sit back as a coach and just let them do their thing and see the excitement on the ice, and knowing that game by game we're getting closer to real-time hockey here.
Well, Coach, we faced off against Gus Ford's new former team, the Thunderbirds, in our last game. And while we got the win with a 4-2 scoreline, it was a game that we were down 2-0 in at one point. The goal that made it 2-0 was a Zach White breakaway on the shorthand. It felt like a microcosm of the night, going 0 for 6 on the man advantage. For a team like us that has been one of, if not the strongest 5-on-5 team in the league, what is the disconnect when we go up a man?
No, there's nothing really disconnect. Again, you're going to have ebbs and flows to your power play. You're going to see it go down, it go up. Like guys, yeah, they need to turn the intensity up, but it's also, I thought we had a lot of good looks. Sometimes it just doesn't connect. You know what I mean? So you got to let your players figure this out. You give them a game plan. They're out there as a 5-man unit. They're going to figure this out. Like, again, yeah, did we give up the shorthanded or whatever it was? That's just a misplay. It is what it is. Like, again, Greco gets it. Maybe he stick handles. The ice was a little bit soft. It jumps over his stick, or stuff happens at the end of the day. It's gonna happen. Again, we could be talking about something else where Greco ties the game up. You know what I mean? So it's like, not on them. But again, I go back to credit to our boys. A guy makes a mistake. He's pretty down on himself for doing that. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be the center of that kind of backhand or just missing the puck. Guy goes in a breakaway. But our guys pick each other up. I think you see that all the time, a team with our guys. Whenever we get down, we are a team that doesn't let one guy just sit there and take the brunt of the failure, I guess, that happened. We all are a cohesive unit. We come back and we play even harder. So I think we hit 4 or 5 goalposts. Like, at the end of the day, we outshot them. Like, again, how many times are you going to see, I think Gleb hit the crossbar and then Croucher shoots it and hits the post again? Like, how many times are you ever going to see that again in the game of hockey? So once again, it was credit to the boys. We're staying the course. I just go back to, even like, every team wants to beat us. Like, they do. They want to come in and play their best hockey. Did we get off a little slow? Yeah, we got off a little slow because, like, again, people don't know is we've been practicing in Atlanta at the Ice Forum, where the Gladiators practice just off-site. There's been concerts here for basically 2 weeks. The ice has been covered. We haven't skated here. We haven't had anything here. So, and then we skated Friday, and then Saturday we couldn't skate. Sunday, obviously, game, 4:00 start. So it takes a little bit of adjustment in your day-to-day actions and how you're going to prepare to be ready for the game, basically. So again, was it a little bit slower than the start we wanted? Yeah, I did, but I thought we played all in all pretty decent. If we connected in the power play or had 1 or 2 goals go in, I guess we wouldn't be talking about this right now. But all in all, I'm not worried about it. I'd rather be going through a little bit of a slump right now, if you call it that. But I think we're getting our looks. I think it's going to come here, and we'll be all right.
Last thing I'll mention about it, we were lucky enough you got to teach us about some of the universal principles on the power play for every team. Clean zone entries, quick puck movement over the Royal Road, shot volume, among other things. Is there one principle you'd like to see improvement on in the weeks before the playoffs start on the power play?
Yeah, absolutely. I think moving the puck around and having a general idea of where we're moving in. So if it goes Milan, Shinks, over to Macker, it goes back, Shinks, over to Milan, one-timer. When you get those set plays in the NHL and you see higher-end teams, and I'm saying higher-end teams by NHL versions of them, they're passing the puck to a certain location to get it back to one guy. So once it goes over, the guys know it's coming over to one side. Or just a little bit, maybe a little more creativity, moving guys around in the zone, creating a little bit of chaos, and having that kind of road hockey mentality. I get, like, I put a little bit of a note. There was a thing on the coaches site that I watch these podcasts and stuff about coaching and stuff, and the NHL guys putting on their power plays, and a little bit of a road hockey mentality in the ozone. So go back to your roots and kind of move around and pick on one guy. We have 5 guys, they have 4. So you need to pick on one guy, make sure you got a 2-on-1 somewhere against somebody, and set that up. And then when you get your shot, you need to put them back in the net. So Better net front too helps too. What you can't see, you can't stop. Doesn't matter what goalie you have in there. Just things like that. But again, as a coach, you got to stay the course. You got to rely on your players' skill set. You can't get into them too much. You got to let them do their thing. Let them be players. Let them be creative. Let them be themselves. So at times can be frustrating, but you're going to have that belief. I have my belief in my players, and that's why they're here, and that's why they're out there, and eventually they're going to make a play and then put it in the back of the net here.
More than any other team in the FPHL, when we play the Thunderbirds, there are so many interweaving webs that tie these two teams together, even more so now than the game on Sunday. But at that time, you've got a team that you're the former head coach of. You've got 3 former players on the other team. Does that familiarity give you an edge, give them an edge, or does it kind of all cancel out?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think it does for both sides. I kind of know the tendencies of some of the guys on their team, and they know my tendencies. They know maybe some of our face-off plays, and they know maybe what we're going to do or what the idea of the O zone or defensive zone is. But things have changed a lot since I've coached there, to be honest with you. I've learned a lot over the years being in Saginaw and now coming here and coaching this skilled group. So we've changed a lot of stuff over there that they don't know that we put in their arsenal here. So, but yeah, I think it's a good matchup. I think it's fun to be part of hockey, but it's also good to know that these guys have went to a good home and they're in a good spot over there in Winston-Salem.
You brought up how many times the metal goal frame was struck. I think it was maybe 4 times in the first period alone, maybe 5 or 6 on the night total. As a coach, do you just kind of have to shrug those moments off because it's somewhat of an indicator that your team is doing something right, no?
Yeah, you can feel it coming, though. Couldn't you, Mateen? You could feel once we got 1, you get 2, and then 3 and 4. You could feel it coming. You think those posts, if those go in.
Just a couple of minutes away before the start of the second period, the Rock Lobsters lead through a goal from Joe Mack. He did it all himself. Converted the takeaway into a flip past Brendan Colgan. Let's take a look at some of the scores around the FPHL. Right now, it looks like this is actually a little bit behind. Let's fix that for you here. There we go. Thunderbirds and Zydeco right now just starting out, first 30 seconds of that game. Prowlers and Sentinels, Port Huron up 3-1 on their home ice. Bobcats up 1-0 in Connecticut against the Danbury Hat-Tricks. Black Bears once again, looks like they're going to have another win against the Watertown Wolves. And then something beneficial for the Rock Lobsters, the River Dragons up 3-1 against the Monroe Moccasins over at the Columbus Civic Center. We'll see if that lasts. Athens has a narrow lead here after 20 minutes played. Joe Mack's 19th of the year. He stopped the scoring for the Rock Lobsters last night, scored to make it 6-5. We almost thought that could have been the winner before the IceCats had one more in them to tie it up at 6-6 through Ledkoff. Sent the game to overtime, sent the game to shootout. Athens was able to get the majority of the points out of the 3 that were split, 1 to Pee Dee and 2 for the good guys. Some playoff implications in this game. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Good start to Matt Sale's tenure as an Athens Rock Lobster. 8 saves in the first 20. Everything a bit pensive here at the start of the period. Don't really know what's going on. Guys trying to stay fresh. Looks like we're ready to get going. Starters on the ice for the Rock Lobsters. Line of Virgili, Mack, and Leafers. Maya and Greco behind them. Second period last night was the best one for the Rock Lobsters, outscoring Pee Dee 3-1. Sales taking no chances, no risks. Covers up with 5 seconds gone in the second. The Rock Lobsters aren't the only team working hard this season, because off the ice, the Claws Up crew, the official booster club, is supporting our players with post-game meals, furnished apartments, and even bus blankets for those long bus rides. Want to learn more or get involved yourself? Scan the QR code on your screen or visit arlbc.org today. Joe Mack with a face-off win, but it comes hard off the stick of Maye, and then Greco to Sales. Sales able to hug the post. He has to freeze twice in the first 9 seconds of the period. Very similar face-off, but Maye able to handle the face-off win from Mack. Really going to be able to get there. Trying to use his hip to thrust Miguel Diaz away. Has the puck now. Greco, is he thinking about the shot again? Another pad save from Colgan. Colgan out of Wynwood, Pennsylvania. Greco beats Gilbert back for the icing. It felt like there were so little stoppages in last night's game. Right now, the start of the second period, there's already been 3 in the first 35 seconds. Ben Durkin, his last home game, had a 2-goal performance. His line mate having a 2-goal performance last night. Van Durkin poking and prodding at it. Shinkarik, 2 was left. Glukaryov takes his spot at the point. Shinkarik around the net. Gets it taken away from him by Miguel Diaz. Croucher, stutter step, rides the line with a pass to Van Durkin. U-turn from the Moscow Mule. Bank pass back to Croucher. Kolatarsi at the middle of the point. Opts for the extra pass. Shinkarik with a blast. Misses the frame. Kola trying to fizz one that pops up on Gullo. Hamilton, clever behind the back feed, but Gilbert with a long shift will go back off to the bench. Big hit on the forecheck from Hamilton on Glukaryov. Shinkarik clatters into the puck. Able to take it with him. Lowell loses an edge. Into the corner from Pee Dee. Shinkarik tries the poke check. What a save from Sales! It was nearly a picture-perfect move for Ledkoff. Got out in front and took it to the other post, but Sales sticks the foot out and makes a big-time save. Perhaps a point to prove against his former team, but so does Vadim Frolov. 3 goals in the past 2 nights, and he beats his former teammate. Jesse Lowell visually upset about something. We saw him take a tumble in the offensive zone. Perhaps he thought that he was taken down. Right after, Sales makes a beautiful save. It's Frolov that tickles the twine against him. No love lost against his former teammate. Malik Johnson. Athens trying to earn their lead back. Shinkarik cuts the ice to Johnson. Kolatarsi moving on up. Puck sails out of play. Only 2 penalties in this game. Both have been called against Jesse Lowell. And him thinking that he should have got a call himself before the goal was scored by the IceCats. Malik Johnson and Garrett Milan, 2 players that know each other very well. Were part of the first ever starting line for the Rock Lobsters. Johnson gives it away. IceCats storming in a similar position. Sale stands tall on Dominik's Marcinkiewicz. Clever leave by Dominik's to pop off. Blocked shot by Liefers. Shinkarik gets it to Johnson, but it comes off of Johnson's skate and into the corner. Mack again, but can't do anything with it. Almost a 3-on-1, in and out of the glove of Sales, and then tumbles wide. The IceCats with a different energy here in the second period. Dominik stings Sales. Mack able to poke it up the wall to Johnson, who in turn is unable to connect with Liefers. Sales wants the icing. It'll be granted to him. Frolov from Ledkoff. Those two combined last night as well. John Calgin joining this line with Mack and Virgili now. Finds himself in different spots as the 10th skater, 10th forward rather. Lofted long, lofted high. Tricks Greco a little bit. Falling to the ice and getting the shot off was Patrick's, but he can only direct it straight at Sales. Pee Dee with an answer almost immediately in the opening minutes of the second period. An apt song for Matt Sales. Guess who's back again? We'll redo the face-off. The far side. Paralat lost an edge. Tumbled into the air, end board, stutter step from Razilov. Ledkoff out of the corner. Razilov unloads, block shot by Virgili. Calgin, Virgili, zone entry in on the left side. Looking for Mack at the back door, couldn't find him. Shinkarik with a poke check, got a little bit off balance there on his back leg. Recovers well. Van Durken feeds Calgin. Shinkarik, Captain Fantastic, making a step up, but a miscommunication there with his new teammate, Bartuccio Pereira. And all alone is Jake Hamilton, who cannot trick Sales. The puck was loose there, and I think the IceCats perhaps a little bit upset that time was called there. Too much space for Hamilton, but Hamilton, a defenseman by trade, kind of caught himself up in no man's land and got caught in two minds. We'll be back after this commercial break. IceCats formulated a response, and now we're tied up at Athens 1, Pee Dee 1.
Since we opened in 1968, we've taken pride in our professional staff. Unparalleled customer service is our legacy. Experience the best, skilled hands and friendly faces. At Stanfield Air Systems, satisfaction is not just a guarantee, it's our tradition. Schedule online at stanfieldair.com.
Honey, the sink is overflowing!
Okay, I'll call a plumber.
a plumber? Need a pro? When you need a plumber, call a pro. Plumber Pro.
It's a very high-tempo start for Pee Dee through the first 5 minutes and 1 second in this middle frame. Been able to knot it up just as they were last night at 1-1. Tied the game 4 different times in last night's contest. Now they're looking for their first lead of the series. Shot right out of the face-off. Wide from Robinson. Kolatarsi can't find a teammate. Sales with a glove save. I'll tell you what, I'm not sure if it's the humidity outside of the rink because the temperatures are starting to climb higher in the southeast, Florence included. But it is a sweaty place up in here in the press box. Patrick's trying to do something clever between the skates there. Unable to pull it off. Meanwhile, Wilson getting sandwiched between Leafers and Kolatarsi. Pass to the blue. Calgin squeezes the legs together. Kolatarsi down on a knee and finds Johnson up the left wing. Backhanded behind the goal line. Maie prepares the shot. Beautiful feed from Johnson. Calgin didn't get anything on the rebound after his initial shot. Wilson there deep in his own zone, really helping out on the defensive side. Shinkarik up in the play from the outside hash marks. Leafers wanted to pass, he got it. Colgan able to move laterally through the crease. Johnson takes his eyes off the ball, and now Pee Dee rolls the other way. Dominic's into the helmet of Sales. Patrick's shot through traffic. Popoff can't get it to go. Good shift here from the 5 skaters for Pee Dee. Whisked around. Virgili trying to meet it ahead of McGill Diaz. Stick handle move from Patrick's Marcinkiewicz. Falls to a friendly face. Sales with a save. No rebound for Dominic's Marcinkiewicz on the shot. Finds his brother. Great pass out wide, and Sales into the midsection. Makes the save on McGill Diaz. Stuffing out his former captain, but right now the shot on goal advantage for the Dee IceCats in this second period is vast in a small sample size. Athens hoping they can get their toe caps pointed in the right direction. Michael Greco has been aggressive in his play, as he so often is. Makes a step up there. Legkoff with a centering pass on a pirouette. Lowell with a takeaway. Still Lowell. Where did the puck go? Frolov can't get it out. Did Athens keep it in? Yes, it did. Off the glass and down for Greco. Milan settles it. Breezes past his teammate Calgin. Awkward banker, but Perlat deals with it. Zajac over the neutral ice. Sales steps out to the edge of the welcome mat. Leafers from Mack. Backhand pass in the direction of Colgan, looking for both Virgili or Mack. Only touch comes from the Pee Dee netminder. 47 saves on 49 shots. In his last game, a 4-2 win against the Blue Ridge Bobcats on March 1st. Perlat from his own point. In its own way, an important building for Dustin Perlat. A scary moment for him earlier on in the season, back in December. Took a board from Dominik Marcinkevics that led to a lengthy suspension for one half of the Latvian Twins. Pee Dee have looked dangerous in this period. Only one goal to show for it. Meanwhile, Athens trying to reclaim their lead. Philip Virgili's shot gets blocked. Pee Dee have done a good job at stuffing the slot and making sure that shots aren't as dangerous as they could be for their goaltender, Colgan. Perlat, good read. Got there ahead of Gilbert. Falls back to Bedard in the Pee Dee zone. Did Wilson get anything on it? He must have. No icing for the IceCats. Pee Dee fans getting behind their team. Perlat does well under pressure in his own ice. But Athens hoping for more meaningful possession of the puck in enemy territory. Banged ahead by Perlat to Croucher. Two Canadians combining. Van Durken reaches in for it, but the shot comes from the IceCats. Sales able to shrug it away. That one finds a way. Dominik's and Patrick's combine once again. Dominik's finding the short side on Sales. And Pee Dee has their first lead of the weekend. Dominik Marcinkevics feels like he's more of a force than he was in last night's game. Had a goal in the contest last night, but thought he gave away the puck an uncharacteristic amount. And then ultimately he was ejected from the game for unsportsmanlike conduct. No dipsy daisy completed there by Ledkoff. Milan leaves it for Johnson. Colgan with a save. Athens answers. No goal, say the officials. In a goal that felt very similar to the strike that made it 6-6 for the IceCats last night. Perhaps that's what's on Milan's mind, as he lets his thoughts be known to the officials. Almost a near immediate response. Call is no goal on the ice. We'll see if there's any clarity after this commercial break. Stay tuned here on the ARL Network. Right now, as it stands, Pee Dee leads.
When you're the leader, disaster cleanup and restoration, how do you make like it never even happened happen? Fire it up, Randy! By being prepared for anything! Whatever comes your way, there's a pro for that.
Serve Pro.
like it never even happened.
Every business owner who's built a business wonders about their company's legacy. What's the path forward after they decide to take a step back? At the heart of every succession plan is a vision that safeguards hard-earned success. This isn't just paperwork. It's your roadmap, guiding a business during a change in ownership and detailing how ownership transitions and key financial decisions unfold. This instills a profound sense of pride, belonging, innovation, and commitment, ensuring a stable future for the company and a rewarding exit for you. Let's forge that path together.
Didn't really seem like there was any meaningful review from the officials there. Athens thought they had tied it up through Milan, who had planted himself in a good position in front of Brendan Colgan. Seemed like a similar play from last night, where there was potential calls from Carter McPhail for goaltender interference on the goal scored by Ledkoff that tied it up at 6-6 late on in the third period. Still think Shinkarik and Milan want an explanation here. Coach Garrett Rutledge, I think, is saying he wants a review here. He's challenging the play. It just seems to me that that would be a call that would just be reviewed. It seems strange to me that it takes a challenge to prompt this review. We'll see if it pays off for Garrett Rutledge. If it doesn't, then Athens will go down a man on the penalty kill. Be what the doctor ordered for Athens, who have been very much so outshot in this second period. Take a quick look at the stats. Being outshot 13-3 in the middle frame. Quick look at the out-of-town scores. Thunderbirds up 1-0. And then Moccasins and River Dragons have tied the score up there. Some time being taken here on the review. Perhaps that at least says that Athens has a case on the call. Being reviewed for goaltender interference. Call on the ice was that Colgan was impeded. Officials trying to get as many looks at it as they can. So definitely not cut and dry. Review is over. And it's a Rock Lobster goal. Garrett Rutledge gets the review right, and Garrett Milan gets his 4th goal of the weekend. That extends his point streak to 11 games, 22 points in that time. Rock Lobsters have knotted it up at 2 apiece. It took a review to get there. Garrett Rutledge throws the challenge flag, so to say. Milan from Johnson and Lowell. That also extends Lowell's impressive streak. Now only 3 games without points in his last 26. Milan tying the game up. He'll get things started once again on the resulting puck drop. Sent long by Carter Shinkarik. Milan meets it. Almost falls favorably for Jesse Lowell. Joust for possession on the near side wall. Milan was able to take it away, but unable to stride too far away. Johnson with a touch to Milan. Back to Johnson. Johnson looking for just his 3rd goal of the season. Gets the pass. Not to his liking. Sails it long for Leafers. Mack charging towards the back door. Leafers with a shot deflected off the skate of McGill Diaz. Backhanded away by Michael Greco, cut out by Houston Wilson. But Maye with a good defensive play. Almost tricky for Sales. And Greco with a helping hand to assist him in covering up. Pinballing around the circle. The face-off falls for Maye. Slaps it off the glass, gets through the skates of Leafers, who got a touch. No icing. A little bit lackadaisical from Pee Dee in their own ice. But they're able to get it away. Cross-ice pass, Patrick's to Dominics, who combined on the last Pee Dee goal. Shot wide from the point, slapped at. Patrick's Marcinkevic stiff arming Michael Greco away. And now both of them exchanging. Pardon me, it's Dominic's, not Patrick's. And I think Michael Greco is going to get the call there. Or will they both? Dominic's Marcinkevic is definitely in the box. Michael Greco was upset as if the call was going to go against him as well. But it looks like Athens is going to have its first power play of the game. Pee Dee fans in attendance letting their displeasure and distaste be known. Athens on the Paloma Park power play. The Rock Lobsters score on the quadruple P. Fans can unlock free churros at Paloma Park for 24 hours through the FanSaves app. Dominic's Marcinkevic's 2 minutes for roughing. Athens looking for a power play goal. Right now they're looking for a jolt on their power play in general. Two face-offs wasn't good enough. Let's see if the third time's a charm. Gullo will take it instead of Zajac. Two good penalty killers. Referee stops it from trickling back to Maye. Here is Mack, who will get the puck rolling down the hill here. Drops it for Glukariov. Trying to build on a 2-goal performance from last night. Big hit off the puck there from Dom Della Savita. Little bit of a mistake there from Pee Dee, though. Might give a window for Athens to set up shop. It gets past Mack. Just about backhands it away. Spills in between Zajac and Milan. Athens gets away with one there. Pee Dee with 12 shorthanded goals leads the FPHL. IceCats looking for a lot of body on body on this penalty kill. Less than a minute to go on the man advantage for Athens. Virgili scans for getting to the loose puck off the bench wall. Mack, the furthest back. A good defensive player, but Wilson had the shot. Didn't have the accuracy against Sales. Philip Virgili looking to build on a great week of his own. Takes it towards the center of the zone. Shinkarik with a slapper. Takes it all the way back down towards Sales. There might be one last rush if Athens gets it right. Can they find an entrance into enemy territory? Mack with a dropped pass. Athens almost drops the ball. Croucher with a shot and a goal! Croucher crouches down, gets down to the knee and celebrates the goal that gives Athens back the lead. He hasn't fully found his goal-scoring touch since his return from injury. He had one in Baton Rouge against the Zydeco, but that's a big-time goal to give Athens the lead at 3-2. Seconds after the power play ends, and it's almost a bit of a cruel joke from an Athens perspective. The power play numbers could use some inflation, but the goal comes seconds after the man advantage ends. Pee Dee gets it away. Calgin looking for the hit there. Here's a new man, Jonathan Bartuccio Pereira. Calgin and Lowell a give and go. Lowell to Johnson. A little bit too hot to handle for the Marvel. Under 5 minutes to go. Malik lofts it up for Calgin. Calgin with a tight angle shot. Clatters off the pads of Colgan. Johnson, a little spring in his step. Lowell has to handle it on the backhand, though. Johnson, fake short side effort. Greco, Calgin out in front, still loose. Calgin wide. Mack with a slapper. Still loose on front. Where did it go, says Colgan. Behind him. Now it's Athens who are finding their feet after they found the lead. Croucher with a burst of speed, feeling that confidence boost after getting that goal, but then he gives it away himself. Raziloff around to the end boards, a great centering pass. Should have been clattered toward the slot more by Dominiks Marcinkevics. Van Durkin trying to ease it toward the slot. Croucher without a meaningful touch. Croucher setting up Glukariov in and out of the mitt of Colgan. IceCats looking to spring something the other way. Sales with a tremendous save. Athens, a little bit skint at the back. Dominik Marcinkiewicz fakes a pass, sends a shot instead, taken away by Ledkoff. Backhanded to McGill Diaz, defenseman, captain. Getting north on the ice. Ledkoff, one of 2 30-plus goal scorers for the IceCats. Big hit from Froloff. Greco okay with icing the puck there. We go back to another commercial timeout. Rock Lobsters have their lead once again, despite the fact that the IceCats had 2 in the second. Athens were able to tie it up, and then Croucher with the meaningful strike to make it 3-2. More Rock Lobster hockey coming up after this. Farm Burger is defined by its mission, its farms, its team, and its family. In 2008, our co-founders gathered around a single idea: redefine the burger by bringing together a community of ranchers, farmers, chefs, restaurateurs, and eaters. Our promise is to strive every day and with every burger to uphold these core values to each and every one of you. We do that by holding ourselves to a higher standard. Grass-fed and grass-finished, that means our cattle are never fed grain. Our belief feeds our mission, and our mission is to feed you.
Meet our professional team, where the best customer service is our promise. With over 5 decades of expertise, trust Stanfield to keep you comfortable. Schedule online at stanfieldair.com.
Luke Croucher's 14th goal of the season. He got point number 40 on the year last night as well. Assisted by the veterans, Shinkarik and Virgili. Athens gave up the first Pee Dee lead of the weekend at one point at 2-1. Able to tie it up on a goal that needed the challenge from Garrett Rutledge to stand. And then Croucher, having just turned 26 on Thursday, 2 days later, hoping that he has that goal-scoring spark once again. Remember how hot he started out on the season. He looked a surefire vote for potential Rookie of the Year in the FPHL. Not the first time in this series where there's been a lengthy stoppage, and I'm not sure why. It's hot here in the press box. I can't imagine how hot it is for the players on the ice. Carter McPhail was wearing some sort of fitness tracker during his performance last night. He showed me that his heart rate at one point got up to 210 beats per minute. I said, Carter, look, I have the hardest working heart in America, and I don't think I've ever reached that BPM. Pee Dee with a face-off win. I wonder if that was what the point was there of that long stoppage. Was it almost like a soccer-like hydration break there? Virgili with a dump in. Noah Robinson around for Ledkoff. Beautiful centering pass. Lowell read it the whole way, was able to tie up Zajac, and then tries to slap it out of the zone. Just about sent back in by Razaloff. Zajac through Froloff, falling to Razaloff on the far side. Sales with a glove save. Athens for the second straight period, hoping that they can take a lead into the intermission. Less than 2 minutes to go. Athens have found their shooting shoes a little bit more in the second. At one point, getting outshot 13-3 in the frame. Milan over the dot, slaps it to the far boards. Kolatarsi unable to get a touch on it, but pokes it away from Wilson. Slot from distance. Another shot from distance from Dominik Marcinkiewicz. He has a goal in this game. Pass, cross ice, Sales, watch it sail over his head. Milan able to use the wall to just ride that puck on using one hand on the stick. Sends it, sticked away there by Colgan. Shinkarik getting up in the corner. Milan around for Johnson. Sends it back where it came from. Milan, I thought, saw the hand go up, and I thought you thought the penalty was coming against Dominik Marcinkiewicz. Instead, it's going against him. Blow the whistle with exactly 1 minute to go, and Milan will sit for 2 minutes. If anything, it's somewhat preferable to break up that power play a little bit. Athens able to kill it off on the Leslie Jones Law penalty kill. Half of it will be played in the second, the other half to start the third period. Athens with a face-off win, but Robinson tying up possession in behind Sales. Kolatarsi around, but not out. Della Savita doesn't find an opening to shoot into. Puck movement around the Royal Road. Shot comes from that spot too. Hits an Athens stick and out of play into the safety netting. Linda Belcher asking, does Tom see this feed? I emailed in a birthday announcement. I think you're on the wrong broadcast, Linda. Sorry to let you know. Leafers. A big reason why he's able to win faceoffs the way he is because of that lengthy frame. He's really just able to muscle it back. Early step from the IceCats. Kills their momentum. 17.8 seconds to go in the second period. Both teams with 2 goals in the middle frame. Pee Dee trying to add on and tie it back up at 3. Officials going to the scorer's table at center ice. And it looks like it's going to be 5-on-3. Not good for Athens. A minute 18 of 5-on-3. Athens gets called for too many men. The call on Milan was roughing. Almost a great assist from the referee there. Is there going to be one last shot? A slapper wide of Sales, and then Shinkarik will slap it down to end the second period, but Athens will have to kill off a 5-on-3 penalty to start the third period. Once again, we find ourselves saying, can Athens, the cardiac crustaceans, keep it more comfortable for themselves and play a more disciplined game in the third period and not have to play behind in personnel? No doubt, though, if they're able to come back and kill off the 5-on-3 power play advantage for the Pee Dee IceCats, that will be a huge boost for Athens to keep a hold of that lead and really balloon their confidence up towards the final horn in regulation. Milan coming off the ice, still letting his displeasure be known for his call. It seemed like a really 50-50 collision between him and Dominik's Marcinkiewicz, so I think I understand the veteran's frustration there. Someone who's been impressive to me once again on the weekend, and sometimes it doesn't always show on the score sheet, but it has for Jesse Lowell. Only 3 games without points in his last 26 contests now, as he has an assist in this game on the Milan goal that tied it up at 2 apiece. And if you know anything about Jesse Lowell, he comes from a fantastic family as well. I have a chance to talk with his father and mother every now and then. Tremendous people. And Jesse doesn't fall far from the tree in that regard. I had a chance to talk with J-Lo earlier on in the season, and we hope you enjoy that conversation. Lobster Tales in the second intermission. Me, Mateen Rad, and Jesse Lowell. Hey there, Crustacean Nation, and welcome back to Lobster Tales on the Athens Rock Lobster Network. It's the go-to way for you fans to learn more about your favorite players. As always, I'm your host, Mateen Rad, and my guest today is coming off of a memorable weekend with his first home goal in a fight in front of Crustacean Nation, an Illinois native, a former captain at the University of Arizona, and a representative of the USA at the World Cup of University Hockey. Welcome to the show, Jesse Lowell. Jess, thanks for joining me, brother.
Thanks, Mateen. I appreciate it.
Look, man, I don't want to get too cerebral off the rip, but I think growth is something that so many of us want to be a linear thing, and it just isn't. You know, it's peaks and valleys, and it feels like you're on the high of one of your best peaks of the season thus far, scoring in back-to-back games, dropping the gloves for the first time in your pro career, which we'll talk about later as well. And I think the fans are kind of riding that high with you right now. I guess my simple question is, how are you feeling?
Pretty good. I think at least a focus for me each week is just to get 1% better, even each and every day. I think, our veteran guys try and talk about that sometimes. And I think, at least for me personally, I can get lost in the weeds a bit with trying to perfect things. I tend to try to be a bit of perfectionistic. So, yeah, for me right now, it's just, riding the wave a bit. I mean, it's peaks and valleys. And right now I'd say I'm, climbing up, and I'm just trying to get better each day. So yeah, it feels good to get rewarded.
Well, we'll get back to the here and now a little bit later. Now let's go back all the way to the very beginning. You grew up in the suburbs of Chicago in Northbrook, Illinois. What did your first steps in hockey look like?
From what I remember, it was just my old man taking me out to skate. I got pictures of getting out there for the first time, and I got an older brother, 9 years older than me, Jared, and he skated as well. He was a good hockey player. He had a nice career in Arizona and played in Europe afterwards. So I think, him and my dad are just great role models. I talk to them every day about hockey, about life, and they really got me into the game. So
We'll talk a little bit more about Jared later as well. But Matt Garcia is someone who's around the same age as you. He grew up less than an hour away from where you did. Was wondering if that's anything that you guys have talked about or bonded over at all.
yeah, it's actually it's funny how small the hockey world can be as well as big at the same time. Actually, I met Matt right behind where I'm sitting right now in September, and he was one of the first guys I met, and we had that Chicago introduction right away, but I'd never met him before that, so it is funny how big and small the hockey world can be.
You played for your high school team at Glenbrook North High School that produced NHLers like Mike Brown, Jacob Megna, JT Comfer. you came right in the middle of a period of success for that program, and you were a big-time producer for the Spartans. How did playing for your high school team shape you as now a pro later on?
Yeah, I think that was a big year for me as a U15. I had the option to, stay in AAA and play up with the 1999 birth year as a 2000. But that year, me and my dad kind of talked, and we were just more focused on development and also just kind of having fun. We thought it'd be a good year to go play for the high school, stay local, play a ton of games. And, it was a little bit lower level at high school, obviously, than what I was playing at AAA. And I just try to use it as, as a stepping stone. I had my brother on the bench with me as an assistant coach. So we really focused on, my development that year. And I feel like it allowed me to slow the game down, playing a little bit of a weaker level and just hone in on my skills.
Glenbrook North High School is kind of an iconic high school, and people might not know it by name, but it's famous alumnus director John Hughes. You can see the outside of the school in Ferris Bueller's Day Off and the inside in the Breakfast Club. Was that something that the student body thought was cool? Because I think it's awesome. Or is that something that maybe you and the others didn't even know?
I think people know about it. It wasn't talked about a ton, but when you drive on that road, where those scenes were taking place, it's cool. I definitely think about it, or I did think about it back when I went there. Geez, almost 10 years ago now. But
it's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
You as you mentioned earlier, you had your brother as an assistant coach at Glenbrook, and he's about 9 years older than you. You would end up following in his footsteps multiple times in your career by ending up playing at University of Arizona and then overseas in Europe, which also we'll talk about. But talk about how much Jared was a part of your development then, and maybe how much he's a part of that development now.
Yeah. Jared was huge for me. Right when he started coaching me my sophomore year of high school. Obviously before that he was doing his own thing. That was his first year out of retirement, or his first year retired. So that was kind of the start of him, coaching me. That summer we did a lot of intro to lifting, and he'd walk me through some of the plyometrics he did to get quicker, even stuff like shooting pucks in the backyard. That's my bread and butter now. Like, he taught me what I need to do for my stick handling, what I need to do for my shooting, and I still do that stuff today out at Athens. So that's pretty cool. And even fast forwarding now to like even last year when I was in France, me and him would sit down once a week and just go through my shifts. And he's just so smart with the game. He knows so much, and he just kind of break it down for me what I need to do with the puck in certain situations. And we were just really focused on how to create more offense. I think something I struggle with a bit is just holding on to the puck a little bit, letting the play develop. I think I have it in my arsenal to make those plays. I think I have decent hands and I got decent vision. So he was just helping me kind of, let things set up, be more comfortable, be more confident. And yeah, it was huge just sitting down with him each week, looking at my shifts and just trying to get better last year.
I think we know a lot of the skills that you bring because, I love to watch that, mixtape of your skills when you were at the University of Arizona, leaving Illinois, going to Tucson to be at Arizona Wildcat. You have a solid year your freshman season. You're an alternate captain your sophomore year. You're captain by the time you're a junior. You have the right profile to be a leader for years to come. Do you think you're more of a vocal leader, or were you more of a lead by example kind of guy?
I think I was both. I definitely was very vocal. I was very involved. At Arizona, that program meant so much to me. Being there for 5 years, I truly had such passion for it. I wanted the program to be successful. I wanted to win. And even more importantly, I wanted my teammates to enjoy themselves and, be successful, whether it was on the ice, off the ice, in school. I wanted everyone to, obviously graduate, take care of their schoolwork because that was important. And I just wanted them to, enjoy being on the hockey team there. So, my goal is just to do everything in my power to make sure everyone's enjoying it. And most importantly, everyone's working hard, because every day I just want everyone to get better. And I think that's where leading by example came in. Practice was everything for me, just trying to be the hardest worker, because, at the end of the day, if your captain's going as hard as he can, there's no reason that the other 20 guys on the ice shouldn't either.
And because of your time at Arizona, you got a very unique opportunity to represent your country a couple of years ago at the World Cup of University Hockey, and you wore the A. I've seen quotes from you on how special of an experience it was. Can you reminisce real quick about that opportunity and the moments that made it so special?
Yeah. Obviously, whenever you get to rep the red, white, and blue, it's special. It was the second time I was able to do it. Um, the greatest thing I took away from it was just, it was a all-star team of ACHA guys, and I just really wanted to learn how, the successful teams in the league ran their operations. I mean, I had Dakota Bond on my team who played for Binghamton for a couple years. He was very successful there. And then even like guys on the Canadian team, who were captains of their programs at Adrian, at Minot State. I mean, I know not too many people are familiar with the ACHA, but those teams have been powerhouses for years. So, the biggest thing for me was just talking with those guys and finding out, what is their winning culture and how could I bring that back to Arizona?
I think you definitely did that, especially with your individual play in Tucson. You end up going to play overseas to play in France with Honesty. And your brother took those steps first when he went to Sweden to play pro. What advice did he give you at the time to kind of adapt to the European game, and how do you think you adapted yourself?
Yeah. I think his advice for me is just, you got to try and be the best player on the ice every day. And I think it's a little bit different over in Europe as an import, and you could talk to, Garrett Milan, Karshan Carrick, guys who played overseas. They're expecting you essentially to score every night. That's just how it is. I think it's important to, be a hard worker, make your hits, make your plays, but at the end of the day, they want you to produce. And, for me, I think I do my best when I'm working my hardest and the kind of those things come, the offense comes from my hard work. So it was definitely a lot of pressure going into it, knowing, I needed to produce every night. But that was definitely his advice. And, there was a little bit of a learning curve with it. And even there's a learning curve with that here. You gotta try and produce. Sometimes working hard isn't really enough. So there's layers to it. And I'm even learning that this year.
The Classic City would end up calling, and I feel like every guy has a different story on how the job in Athens came about for them. So, how about you? How and when did you know that the Rock Lobsters was going to be the next step?
Yeah, my story is a little bit interesting. After I got back from France, I feel like once your college career ends and you start tackling the pro career, you start asking questions like, how many years do I want to do this? Do I want to start finding a job, maybe settling down? You miss a lot of family events when you're playing hockey over the years. So all that came into play, and there was actually, I want to say, maybe 6 weeks where I was fully done. Kind of hung up the skates. I was working for my dad and kind of just exploring that route. And then one of my family friends who's kind of helping me get placed reached out, and one of the teams in the league, actually PD, called, and they were going to give me a professional tryout. So once they called, I kind of started looking around the league. I didn't know anything about the league. I had buddies who played in Carolina, Dakota Bond, who I mentioned, who played in Binghamton. So I kind of talked to those guys, talked to Roman Kramer, who's a very good player for Carolina. And um, ultimately, it just came down to where do I see myself best? Like, what's a good fit for me? Where's going to be the best experience? What kind of teams are they? Do they have good culture? And even talking to Shinks in the summer, I just knew there was something telling me that Athens was the place for me. Just the way the culture is here, it's just unbelievable. It's everything that I tried to preach at Arizona, and Shinks kind of runs an operation similar to what I would, and that meant a lot to me. And it just was honestly a no-brainer where I wanted to be.
You end up scoring in the first weekend of the season in Indiana. You got to do that in front of your family who drove in. Obviously, Illinois, Indiana, not that far of a drive. In those first few games, what did you learn more about the FPHL and what it means to play in this league?
Yeah. I just didn't really know what to expect going into Indiana. Obviously a weird rank that we all talked about. Um, and I didn't know anything about the league, so I didn't really know, who we were playing, what kind of game it was going to be. So it was a little nerve-wracking going into it, but once we got out there, at the end of the day, hockey's hockey. Been doing it for 23 years, and I just tried to remember that. And honestly, like my bread and butter is just being the hardest worker on the ice. I feel like that always shows. I mean, hard work over skill sometimes. So it was a good first weekend for me. I got a little bit comfortable playing with different guys and whatnot, playing center, playing wing. But yeah, I thought it was a good weekend overall, and I've just been trying to build from it ever since.
That kind of brings us full circle to the right here and right now. I remember that first weekend in Indiana where I heard you in the hotel lobby saying, it's weird to adjust to the fighting because, it just wasn't allowed in college. And yet this past weekend, you dropped the gloves. You look like a seasoned vet at it. It feels like, just not without, the fighting itself, you've added a gritty edge to your game as of late. But in general, can you talk about your growth through the season and what kind of path you feel that Coach Rutz is trying to put you on?
Yeah, to tackle that last part of it, I developed a good relationship with Rutz. He's a great coach. Uh, Talks to me all the time about different plays. I'm just trying to embrace it all and, listen to him, listen to the older guys like Milan, Shanks, Neely. Um, but honestly, his main thing is just like stop being so hard on yourself and have fun. I mean, it was funny. He went up to my parents the first weekend, and I guess he was like, "Yeah, Jesse seems like he's real hard on himself." And my parents laughed because obviously they know me and they know how hard I am on myself. So I think from him, he's just trying to, get me to loosen up and just play my game. And that's something I've been trying to approach, whether it's not being so tense before the game, maybe not getting too focused, with music and stuff like that, and just going out there and being confident in the way I play. So that's been big, and just trying to loosen up out there, believe in myself a little bit, and it always comes back to just, being the hardest worker out there.
There was a social media post a couple weeks ago where guys were talking about what players they would let date their daughter, and I asked Coach Rutz the same question, and you were the first name that he brought up. What does that mean to you to be, such a polite guy? I think if someone were to ask me like, "Hey, who's the nicest guy on the team?" I probably would say Jesse Lowell. What do you think that says about you, your upbringing, and maybe how you approach a locker room culture as well?
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I mean, in regards to my upbringing, I have an amazing family, amazing support system. My parents are unbelievable. They care so much, as you guys know. I mean, they come every weekend. Anything I need, they take care of it. As well as my brother, and my two sisters. Just everyone's so great. We got tons of nieces and nephews running around shortly here. Um, so it's been a great upbringing with the support. I always feel comfortable. They were so loving, and I think that translates well just to the locker room because the most important thing for me is just, being the best person you can be. Um, you know, Guys feel that when you're genuine, you have a smile on your face, be a good teammate. It really makes a difference. And with me coming to Athens, just on that professional tryout, I just wanted to show everyone that A, I want to be here, and B, that I can be with, the way I carry myself, coming to the rink, being happy, trying not to have that bad body language, no matter if you're on the first line or if you're on the fourth line and not playing. So that's something that's really important to me. I feel like it always just pays off in the end to just be, the kindest person you can be and just work your hardest on the ice.
I brought your name up to Coach and, some of the boys over the past week, and I keep hearing this standing on business.
Standing on business, right? That's what he's doing.
Giving Jesse Lowell coal for Christmas. I'm gonna also give Jesse Lowell coal for Christmas. He doesn't stand on business. Yeah, 2-7 for sure is getting coal.
Can you touch on that at all and where that's coming from?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm probably not the best to be explaining it, but I believe Dom Dumas started that, and he's got a bunch of funny catchphrases and different slang he uses, and I don't know. A couple weeks ago, he started saying it. It's just kind of taken off. Rutz is saying it a bit, and we just we've been messing around with it a bit, so it's funny, you know. I mean, it doesn't really mean much, but we like to, you know, keep it loose, laugh a little bit on the ice, off the ice when we say it. So.
Well, standing on business, we'll see if we can add that to a call if we see a Jesse Lowell goal this weekend in Columbus. Jesse, that does it for my questions, but we've got to bring in Crustacean Nation's voice to ask a few questions as well. It's time for Question a Crustacean. We ask fans to send questions in on both Reddit and the Athens Rock Lobster fan page on Facebook so they can find out what they want to know from their favorite players. If you watching at home want to send your questions in, keep an eye out for posts from me on both Reddit and the fan page. First question comes from Zealous Jealousy on Reddit, who asks, what teammate would you pick for a karaoke duet?
Ooh, karaoke duet. Let me think about this one for a little bit. I mean, I love this.
Quick glance at the out-of-town scores here. Thunderbirds up 2-1 against the Zydeco, an important scoreline. Hopefully we can talk about that at some point tonight. Prowlers up 3-1 against the Sentinels. Bobcats up 2-1 in Dareberry against the Hat Tricks. Black Bears up 8-1, another hurting on the Wolves. Tie game is an interesting one, 3-3 against the Columbus River Dragons for the Monroe Moccasins. Over here in Florence, Rock Lobsters took a 1-0 lead into the second period, but the IceCats came storming out of the tunnel in the middle frame, taking a 2-1 lead on tallies from Vadim Frolov and Dominic Marcinkiewicz. Garrett Milan stormed the crease and knotted the scoreline up at 2-2, but it was initially called off for goaltender interference. After a challenge from head coach Garrett Rutledge, a video review reversed the decision on the ice. 4 minutes later, Luke Croucher wrist shot the visitors back into the lead with a notch just seconds after an Athens power play ended. But right now, the task at hand is to kill off the 5-on-3 penalty that welcomes the Rock Lobsters into this third period. Both teams making their way back out on the ice. Both Garrett Milan and Jesse Lowell will have to go right to the sin bin. Obviously, you hope that the goal doesn't come at all from an Athens perspective, a power play goal from Pee Dee. But if it does, you'd rather it come after at least Milan gets out of the box. You don't want to give up the goal on the 5-on-3 to make it 3-3 and then give the IceCats another chance on the power play, this time 5-on-4. But hopefully Athens can just stand strong and kill off the 5-on-3. They've been a good 5-on-3 team this year. From what I've heard from the players over the past few months here in Pee Dee is that the ice is wet enough, but it's a little soft, the ice. Maybe needs to be cut a little bit better. But with the weather heating up in Florence, we'll see if throughout the rest of the season that greatly affects ice conditions at the Florence Center. We've seen a great amount of fog over the sheet of ice over the weekend. I wonder if the conditions have anything to do with that. 20 minutes on the clock here in regulation. Athens having to kill a 5-on-3. Let's see if they can do it. Ledkoff with speed over the left zone. Leafers, the forward, actually two forwards, Mack, Leafers, and Shinkarik. Patrick's from Dominic's. Ledkoff. Patrick's unable to handle the pass from his brother cleanly. Still gets the puck on the end of his stick. Exchange with Ledkoff. Shot instead of pass, bar and away. And not kept in by Patricks. Claying off the metalwork behind Sales. Legkoff. Behind him is Patricks Marcinkiewicz. Flips one over the head of Zajac. Legkoff for Patricks. Sails into the sky over the head of Sales. Milan is back in play as well. Steven Anderson correct in the chat. Final game that we play in Florence this season, unless there's a return in the playoffs, which is definitely a possibility. The standings stay the way they are now, with Athens in first and Pee Dee in fourth. Athens' first playoff game will happen here in the Florence Center. Less than 20 seconds to go, 5-on-4 here. Athens already killing off the 5-on-3. And now here comes Luke Croucher. Just shedding more seconds off. And Athens kills off the third period starting 5-on-3. Jesse Lowell fresh out the bin. Could that be a big boost for the Crustaceans? And can they stay out of the box? Abdallah being chased down by Malik Johnson. Mai stops it with a skate, sends it around, stopped by Colgan where the trapezoid would be. No trapezoid rule in the FPHL. That's something we were talking about in the chat last Sunday against the Twin City Thunderbirds, a 4-2 win for the Rock Lobsters. A come from behind necessary there, but Athens has not been down on the scoreboard too much in Pee Dee. Short angle backhander, hopeful, but nothing really troubling Sales there. Effort from Legkoff at the wall. This is game number 13 between the Rock Lobsters and the IceCats. Game number 14 takes place Wednesday at Aikens Ford Arena. Get your tickets now to cheer on your hometown team at rocklobstershockey.com. It'll be the final meeting between the Rock Lobsters and the IceCats this season. Luke Croucher, he just seems to have a little bit of fire in his engine right now. Van Durkin waves at it. Dominic Delasvita out of Trenton, Ontario. Finds the veteran Timur Razilov. Razilov, a veteran of the game, but his first year in the United States. An interesting case where he has 28 points, all assists. No one in the FPHL has more assists without having a goal scored. Swatted away by Maye. Hard off the end boards from Croucher, centering pass. Maye with a pop, just wide. Glukarioff on the rebound. I believe Colgan made the save. If he did, it's quite impressive. Colgan, a veteran of the game, a veteran of this league at 31 years old. More than 100 starts in the FPHL. Recently acquired in a trade from the Watertown Wolves. Great keep in there, and then a shot from Leafers, saved by Colgan. Dominic Marcinkiewicz takes it in himself. Almost didn't take the puck with him. Backhand flipper off the wall. Miscommunication between Bedard and Wilson, but thus far it pays off. A mishandle on the touch from Dominic Marcinkiewicz, and Malik Johnson gets on his horse. Paralat will decide to dump in, though. Seems like to the chagrin of Johnson. But here comes Greco, swallowed up by Colgan. Michael Greco has been on the hunt. The wrecking ball trying to make a different kind of impact in this game. A little bit of Atlanta flavor over the loudspeaker here. Maybe they're trying to pump up Matt Sales out of the metro area. Greco ricochets over the cage of Colgan. Back in pass through the ice of Athens by Bartuccio Pereira. Virgili's found in space, but looks like he's dealing with some of the ice conditions that we've talked about. A little over 5 minutes gone in the third period. Athens still leads 3-2. Both teams scoring 2 goals in the second period. Rock Lobsters took a 1-0 lead in the first intermission, took a 3-2 lead into the second. Johnson with a defensive play in the offensive ice. Milan trying to tumble it in toward the slot. Gets past Bartuccio Pereira. Sails out of the crease, just helps it around the rink. And that's straight at Colgan, who will cover up what could have been an icing instead. We go to the commercial timeout. Right now, the Crustaceans have their claws on the lead, but will it stay there? Stay tuned on the ARL Network.
Hi, welcome to Chandler Jewelers. What would you like to learn today?
Looking for a new watch, something a little more fast, more precise.
Yeah, that one looks like it's seen better days. And let's get you something that can keep up.
Oh snap, I got a game to get to. Woo, plenty of time to spare.
This broadcast is brought to you by Thornton Brothers, your one-stop source for janitorial safety and packaging solutions. From restroom soap and protective eyewear to butcher paper and more, Thornton Brothers, they've got you covered. On Saturday, March 14th, the Rock Lobsters honor the heroes who serve our community every single day on First Responders Night. From firefighters and EMTs to law enforcement and medical professionals, we'll recognize the brave men and women who are first on the scene when it matters most. Join us as we celebrate their dedication, sacrifice, and commitment to keeping Athens safe. Be loud, be proud, and help us show our gratitude on First Responders Night by getting your tickets at rocklobstershockey.com right now. Well, they put on an Atlanta band in Outcast earlier on in the period, and now they're playing return of the Mack. Joe Mack already has a goal in this game, returning from his goal performance last night. Let's see if there's more goals here for the Rock Lobsters. Kolitzarski looking for a deflection from Danny. Daniil Glukarioff now in behind the net of Colgan. Kolitzarski thinks about the fizz. Instead, it's the shot from Shinkarik that Colgan has to save. Bounced out of the zone by Robinson. Athens trying to reload in the middle ice. Dumped in by Kolitzarski. Smacks hard off the glass. Shinkarik chests it down like a soccer ball. It's a little late in the game for Sewer Ball, the game that hockey players play to get warmed up with a soccer ball before puck drop. Shinkarik through traffic. Glukarioff offers at it. Was waiting at the doorstep. Couldn't direct it past Colgan. Pressure from Athens, much better at the start of this third period than it was at the start of the second. Sales gets it in his good graces. Stops the clock with 13:13 to go. And Athens closing that gap in the shots department. Now it's 32-28. I'm sweating up here in the booth. It looks like the ice is sweating as well. Over that ice, outside of your view, the new big screen in the Florence Center. Hangs over the ice. Athens gets it out through Philip Virgili. Leifers has to kick it to himself. Banks it off the wall to himself. Does so again. Virgili there to help out. Around the end boards, looking for Mack. Leifers trying to chase down Pee Dee captain McGill Diaz. IceCats looking for a route out of their zone. They carve one through Dominik's Marcinkiewicz, but it's kicked away from him. Athens offsides. I bet this was a lot of people's first concert, the Backstreet Boys. Mine was The Police, one of my favorite bands to this day. I saw them when I was 12 years old on their reunion tour. What was your first concert? Let us know in the chat. It's a broken stick, a pad save from Sales. Lifted up ahead. That's a hit off the puck, and Athens will go to the power play. Interference going to be the call against Xavier Abdella. Rock Lobsters still looking for their first Paloma Park power play goal of the weekend, despite the fact that they did have a goal just seconds after their power play expired. That was a goal from Croucher to take the lead at 3-2. Right now, that's the game winner, but they would love an insurance goal here on the man advantage. But the IceCats display a great danger down a man. 12 shorthanded goals tied for the league lead in the FPHL. A good start, though, for Van Durken, who wins the faceoff but snaps his twig in the process. Milan stops it at the point. Van Durken has a new stick. Della Savita whisks it away with a backhand. Sales for Milan, back around. Maé quarterbacking one of the units for the power play. Good zone entry from Lowell. And uses his physicality to try and set up shop. It's cleared well by the home team. Already 40 seconds dripping off the power play clock for the Rock Lobsters. Maé knowing where Milan is, onto the backhand. Milan off the wall, rides the line with a pass, and it's offsides. Tom Edwards, to date myself, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Man, what a great underrated band. You might not know, I'm a huge 60s music fan. That came from my Elvis days when I was about 9 or 10 years old. Blood, Sweat, and Tears. What's their big song? Spinning Wheel? Spinning Wheel, got to go round. Meanwhile, Athens trying to put the spin here on the IceCats. Virgili, great job to get the shin pads together, get the socks together. But it came a little bit too hot and heavy off the Swede. Created a clearance opportunity for the IceCats. Perhaps one last rush here on the power play. Tied up at the bench for Pee Dee. Croucher racing to get there. Backhands it to the blue line. Croucher feeding Mack. Big Mack with a big shot. Got a little bit under it and got it over the bar. That puck stays in. Shinkarik off the skate of Razilov. Dominik's Marcinkiewicz doesn't get the toe drag around Croucher. Leafers drops it back! Into the top shelf, Mack, second of the game. Will it put the game away? We'll find out, but Mack is a man on fire, scoring some big-time important goals for Athens this weekend. Return of the Mack indeed. And once again, seconds after the power play ends, Athens has a goal. It won't unfortunately benefit the power play percentage, but every goal counts. And now we're at the halfway point of this third period. If you learned anything from the IceCats last night, don't count them out. So with the firepower they have, they're not often down for the count. We go back to a commercial break seconds after the power play ends again. Just as the last goal they scored through Croucher, it's Joe Mack's second of the night, and now he's on hat trick watch. We'll see if they empty the net for him to make it a little easier on him, but we go to a commercial break. Athens 4, Pee Dee 2.
Thank you for calling Thornton Brothers. How may we help you?
When the call comes in, our team moves fast. Because in our world, every second counts. Every delivery means protecting people, product, and places no shortcuts, no excuses. From warehouses before sunrise to late night drop-offs when the rest of the city sleeps, we're the steady hands behind the scenes. On the arena floor, in the back hallways, and down to the locker room supplies, we help keep Athens ready, stocked, supplied, and moving. The fans feel it, the players count on it, the community depends on it. Thornton Brothers, proud sponsor of the Athens Rock Lobsters.
Do you want to move better, feel stronger, live healthier? Join Athens Health and Fitness, personal training, results-driven programs, a community that pushes you. Check them out at athenshealthandfitness.com today. The way I'm sweating, I probably need to go check them out at that URL. Make your home feel brand new. Dalton Carpet One has the flooring you've been dreaming of. Visit DaltonCarpet1.com today and step on to style. Athens with a goal from Joe Mack, his second of the night, third of the weekend. Malik Johnson, good block shot right at the blue line. Able to elbow it in. Hamilton gives it away to the wrong man you want to give it away to, Garrett Milan, but unable to cast a spell on that puck. Bedard sends it down. Milan leading the charge once again. Will he strap the cape on just as he did last night with his hat trick? Bedard loses his stick as he was trying to tie up John Caljan. Glukarioff glancing up ahead. Hits Razzaloff with a dump-in effort, but he has it back. Daniil over the red, over the blue. Left circle, skips like a stone. Van Durken trying to get it back to his Russian teammate, compatriot there. Spills past Greco, who has to reload in the neutral ice. Alexander Ledkoff, a dangerous man indeed. Was looking for the call. Didn't get it. Paralak can't kill the momentum on that dump in. Razzaloff, good puck movement here on this shift for the IceCats. Ledkoff, it thuds off the pads of Sales. Croucher with a touch and nothing more. He'll go off for the change. Hard off the blade of Shinkarik's stick, falls down for Houston Wilson. Backhands it toward the corner. Plenty of time for Shinkarik to deal with it. You see there the way that the puck just stops despite it being on the end of Shinkarik's stick. Again, I think indicative of the ice conditions here in Pee Dee. Leifer's getting stuck in on the forecheck. Dominic's behind him, McGill Diaz. Patrick's Marcinkevics having issues with the ice as well there. Nice play there from Leifers. Tries to dangle it into the skates of McGill Diaz. And a whistle as the puck's out of play. Athens leads by multiple goals. I'm getting a report, and by report I mean looking at the chat and seeing that Monroe potentially fell in overtime. I don't think that's showing on our ticker just yet. Kolatarsi waves at it. A clattering of sticks benefits Hamilton. Falls down off the glass. Jonathan Bartuccio Pereira. Honestly, we haven't said his name much in this game, and as a defenseman, that's almost exactly what you want. He's played a real stay-at-home game, someone who moves the puck well, or so his resume says, and I think the fact that we haven't had to say his name much shows just how sewn up he's been at the back for the Rock Lobsters in this game, his first game as an Athens player. Here he is again. Johnson, a little bit hot and heavy, but Leifer is able to handle it. Trying to spin off the hit from Legkoff. Given away by Pee Dee in their own ice once again. We've already seen an Athens goal with that kind of flavor. Legkoff in the high slot. Trickles wide. Shot through traffic. I think that's the fourth goal of the year for number 4, Dom Della Savita. And now it's a 1-goal game. Dom Della Savita has just breathed life into this game with 5:37 left in regulation. And they force overtime for the second straight night. Here's Croucher. Oh, almost an immediate restoration to a 2-goal lead. Van Durken with a touch just wide on the feed from Croucher. Now Croucher wants the return. Van Durken opts for the shot instead. Croucher in behind. Looks like the puck's stuck in the side netting. Croucher shakes it loose, using one hand to get the pass to the blue line. Kolatarsi. Croucher at the outside hash marks. 5 minutes to go. Almost thought it was Razilov's first goal of the season. Instead, it was Della Savita. Going to be icing here against Athens. One thing's for sure, Athens needed a more disciplined approach in the third period, and they've done a good job of staying out of the box. They need to double that effort, though, as we go into the last 5 minutes. IceCats within a goal now. Can Athens keep their claws on this 1-goal lead, or can they add on to it?
As a hockey player, my health is everything to me. When I got injured,
I didn't just worry about missing games. I worried about my future in the sport I love. From the moment I met you and your team at Piedmont Athens Regional, you gave me confidence. Your expertise, your care, your support, it all reassured me from the very start. Because of you, I've been able to recover, rebuild, and get back to playing the sport I love. Can't thank you enough for what you've done for me and my future. Your help means the world to me, and I'll always be grateful for your part in keeping my dream alive. Thanks to Dr. Graff and Piedmont Athens Regional, I get to keep playing the game I love.
A goal back from Dominic Della Civita. It's his 4th of the year, but it's his first as an IceCat. Having spent a large portion of the year with Watertown, he was dealt to Pee Dee in the move that sent Konstantin Chernik to the Wolves. As always, appreciate the love in the chat. You guys have been so kind to me. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to play a part in our world famous chat. Ring the bell to stay notified of all future Rock Lobster content. That includes Coach's Corners, Lobster Tales, highlight reels, and more. Giveaway to Virgili. Virgili unable to really get any mustard on the shot. Zajac from the right side, initial save. Sales trying to get the skates together as Ledkoff smelled blood in the water. Matt Sales with a good performance, but can he put the cherry on top? You know me and cherries. Everybody kicking at this face-off. Athens comes away with it. Glove down by Dominics. Had to be careful. Lucky for him, Colgan was there to help him out. Final 4 minutes. Seconds after the IceCats emptied the net last night, and I mean seconds, they were able to tie the game at 6-6. Mack almost with a similar goal that opened the scoring in this game. Almost buried the dagger into Pee Dee. But now there's work to do defensively. Patrick Marcinkiewicz, the leading goal scorer in the FPHL. Dominics tries a wraparound, falls to his brother, a pass to the blue line, and nobody's there. Colgan sends it down to Dominics. Calgin didn't know where the puck dropped to. A little bit of twin telepathy there between Patrick's and Dominics. McGill Diaz with a pinch up. Taken away by Leafers. Sent back in by Jordan Popoff. Icing against Athens. Athens will hope that there's not a similar nature to last night's game at the end of this one. Can there be something drawn up by Pee Dee? Perhaps not, as Athens wins the faceoff in the defensive ice. Goal scorer of the last tally, Dom Della Civita, rides the wall on the right wing, gets the puck back, backhands it back where it came from. Jonathan Bartuccio Pereira tying up his man at the end boards. Can only get it as far as the blue line. A crash to the back door. No touch came. Della Civita with another shot. Calgin able to lift the stick. Della Savita, one-time shot, wide from Robinson. Whisked back in by Della Savita, who's made a big impact in this game in the third period. Greco throwing the Grecking ball around. Final 2 minutes of play. We've got a whistle. Looks like Greco and Froloff were the closest to it, and Froloff will go to the box. What a momentum killer that is for Pee Dee as they were searching for the game-tying goal. Might make the option to pull Colgan from the net a little bit more difficult to make for Gary Graham. It looks like it might be offsetting penalties, though. I think Greco also in the box. We'll see if we're skating 4-on-4 or if they'll just go ahead and call it even at 5-on-5. Referees getting together with the off-ice officials. Greco and Froloff barking at each other over the off-ice officials. I think we would lose our TV partnership if we had Greco mic'd up in this game. Right now it looks like it's going to be offsetting penalties. 4-on-4 will skate. On the scoreboard here, they're giving Michael Greco a minute 43 and they're giving Froloff 2 minutes. I kind of like that. I feel like that'll be resolved here at some point. I'm sure they hope to do so before the puck drop, which looks like it's happening here soon. I think the referees finally noticed it. Penalty for Greco taken off and then put back on. That's all fixed. Colgan already well out of his crease on this faceoff. He wins it. He glances at the bench. Ledkoff. There goes Colgan. Pee Dee with an empty net. Can they score an empty net goal for the second straight night to tie it up? Patrick Marcinkiewicz doesn't get the shot right, but he gets to the loose puck. Sent down and sailed just wide. Captain Shinkarik trying the empty netter. Of course, you'd love to just bury this game, but Athens needs to be careful and not put themselves on their heels too much. We've already proven a lot in this game with that 5-on-3 that they killed off to start the third period. Patrick Marcinkiewicz, he's the danger man. Coming into this game as a leading goal scorer in the FPHL, but he hands it off to Ledkoff. Everybody in the rink wanted that call. Great save by Patrick Marcinkiewicz at the line. He had to get the pass off, and he did. Leafers just sends it to the opposing blue line. Final minute of play. IceCats with 5 skaters with the empty net. Athens with 4. Penalties for Greco and Frolov. Ledkov dancing like a Russian ballerina into the Athens ice. Wilson for Patrick's, Marcinkiewicz. His brother Dom to the right, pad save by Sales. You continue to see the fog rise here off the ice in the Florence Center. Final 20 seconds, bounces off of Sales. Patrick's again wide of the mark. Backhand on the rebound by Ledkov. Gets it to Dom. Tries to wrap it around the net. Only route he has is a pass to his brother, Patrick's. Time running out. They need to get the shot off. A slapper from Dominic's is wide, and Athens wins. Completes the sweep against the IceCats. Matt Sales comes back into his old territory and gets a win against his former team. His first as a Rock Lobster comes in his first start. The IceCats empty the net towards the last seconds of this game to try and get that final goal. They have a couple of extra attacker goals against the Rock Lobsters this season, but Matt Sales with some big saves. The defense cinches things up in the Athens ice to come out victorious 4-3 in this game and take 5 out of 6 points against their heated and hated rivals in the Pee Dee IceCats. Joe Mack scores his 19th and 20th goals of the season tonight, and it feels like he's the kind of player that whenever he does score, he scores in a big manner. It looks like they've already cut my camera off here. They want us to get off the air quickly. I'll give you the face cam then. Rock Lobsters with a 4-3 win here. Bringing you this close to the broadcast on the Piedmont Athens Regional Postgame Show. Scoring 4 goals tonight means that Crustacean Nation has won the Freddy's Score with 4 free mini Sunday. For more information, you can check out the Fan Saves app on how to redeem. And with the win, the Rock Lobsters won, so do you. After every Rock Lobsters win, it's time for Andy's Drive Back offer. Visit our Fan Saves page to claim a special postgame offer from Andy's Frozen Custard. Let's see if we could take a quick look at some of the scores around the FPHL. There's some important ones to talk about. Black Bears put up double digits on the Wolves, and that game still isn't over. The River Dragons, though, able to get an overtime win against the Monroe Moccasins. Snakes will get a point out of that one, but Athens gets 3 points out of this one. So the Rock Lobsters will move to 95 points, stay atop the Continental Division. Monroe to 93. Thunderbirds and Zydeco is also one to watch, and the reason why that is because if the Zydeco are able to win in regulation tonight, then the Rock Lobsters will secure their spot in the Commissioner's Cup playoffs. So keep an eye out for the end of that game to see if Athens can put an X next to their name in the standings. A big cheer at center ice for Matt Sales, who got together for the postgame prayer at center ice. A nice moment for Matt Sales. He's a Lobster now, but he used to be an IceCat. And everybody who has been on the arena staff here has been searching him out to say, their good graces to him and give them their pleasantries. Matt Sales welcomed back into the arena in a big way as he gets the win, his first as a Rock Lobster, in a 4-3 victory for the Crustaceans. Let's see if there's anything to talk about with the 3 stars. Looks like that's not put up on the federal hockey side just yet. Definitely you'd have to think that Joe Mack is star number 1 on the night. You'd love to put Matt Sales up there too. 33 saves on 36 shots. Rock Lobsters get back on the bus, happy to go back home to the Classic City, and they'll be back in front of Crustacean Nation on Wednesday as they play their final game against the Dee IceCats, this time on their home ice. Make sure you get your tickets now for that Wednesday game. Puck drop at 7:05. You can get your tickets at rocklobstershockey.com. Well, on behalf of all of the team who will make its way to the bus, I'll make my way to the car to start the drive back home and get back to my dog, my cats, and my fiance. Thank you for tuning in, all of you, to this broadcast. Athens comes into the Florence Center, and they take 2 out of 2, 5 out of 6 points. Athens wins this one big time against the Pee Dee